Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and we're coming to the end of Commander Week. We finish off our feature on Commander 2013 with the Jund deck Power Hungry. This creature-heavy deck focuses on sacrificing creatures for immediate gain. Prossh, Skyraider of Kher is the featured commander in the deck and may end up being the most popular commander in the new set. Prossh is the third commander to have an effect dependent on how much mana you spend to cast it, and potentially the best one yet. You get to put a bunch of 0/1 Cobalt tokens into play each time you cast it. Sure, 0/1s aren't strong at all, but there are plenty of ways to take advantage of the extra creatures, either by pumping them up and attacking, or just sacrificing them to Ashnod's Altar for mana, or Skull Clamp for 2 cards. The fact that you will get more Kobolds each time you play Prossh will only enable you to make more broken plays. Of the 5 commanders we've reviewed this week, Prossh is the most capable of killing a player in combat. It's a Shivan Dragon that puts a bunch of other creatures into play, and then you can use other creatures to pump up Prossh in combat. Casting it once represents up to 11 power of creatures for 1 turn, and then it scales up with each time you recast him. Assuming Prossh gets through, it wouldn't be too difficult to kill a person with the right deck. Prossh is also relevant by being a sack outlet. There are countless ways in Commander to interact with sacrificing creatures, some powerful enough to end the game immediately. While the vast majority of sacrifice outlets in the format are faster than Prossh, most of them don't enable themselves by producing a bunch of creatures or come with a 5/5 flying body. Prossh is similar to Sekuar Deathkeeper, who's also in Power Hungry, and Kresh the Blood Braided. You'll be interacting heavily with your graveyard through sacrifice effects, but with a higher opportunity to go over the top with your commander alone. Despite similarities in strategy and deck building, all 3 commanders are able to put their own spin on the same concept. In Prosh's case, that may require taking advantage of the kobolds it produces. You can always just use them to pump Prosh's power and go in alone, but it also gives you a small army to potentially take out multiple players. Later on, we'll discuss some ways on how to kill people with them. Power Hungry is very synergistic. With 30 creatures and 12 sacrifice outlets in the deck, you will reliably set up the ideal board position. Ophiomancer, Jade Mage, and Endrick Ser, Master Breeder, also produce additional creatures to sacrifice. Walker of the Grove, Sprouting Thrynax, and Endless Cockroaches also replace themselves when they die, helping to ensure that you always have a creature to sacrifice. You have Bloodright, Stronghold Assassin, Fell Shepherd, and occasionally Goblin Bombardment to clear out creatures and get in extra damage, while Carnage Altar draws you cards, and Golgari Guildmage lets you reuse creatures in your graveyard. Shattergang Brothers is the most versatile sacrifice outlet, potentially dealing with creatures, artifacts, and enchantments. The deck is packed with cards that have effects when your creatures die. Foster and Fecundity let you dig through your deck and get to your threats faster. Deathbringer Thoktar and Stalking Vengeance can deal significant amounts of damage to players and creatures, and if the players aren't tokens, Sekuar can replace them. If necessary, Charnel Horde Worm and Infernal Titan are large enough to take a player down. Power Hungry gets not 1, but 2 Portal 3 Kingdoms reprints in Spoils of Victory and Huatuo Honored Physician. The combined value of the 2 cards is $74, but expect that number to fall somewhere in the range of $30 to $40. Despite that sudden loss, the 2 cards alone would be worth the price of the deck. Primal Vigor is worse than Doubling Season, but some decks will still welcome the opportunity to play a second copy even if it benefits the opponents too. Doubling Season has been in the $20 to $25 range for some time, so it wouldn't be a stretch if Primal Vigor managed to be worth $10. It's dependent on how much Commander product is actually printed. Red as a color is really short on wrath effects that don't blow up all or most of permanents in play. Sudden Demise is a little narrow, but in the right situation can be an effective removal spell. Naturally, it gets worse when the opponent has more colors in his deck, but red decks may play it anyway just for the extra sweeper, giving it potential to be a couple bucks. Prossh itself may be worth some money long term, as many Magic players collect dragons as a novelty. Shattergang Brothers is another playable creature that may see more play in a player's 99 than as a commander. The majority of the new commanders in this set will likely settle at a couple bucks to start, and where they go will be based entirely on popularity. Another reprint of note is Goblin Sharpshooter, an Onslaught rare that sits at $8. This price will likely drop once the commander sets are out, but still is the only non-portal reprint of note in the deck. The The Kobold tokens have 0 power, and that makes them kind of useless on their own. With shared Animosity, you actually have a way to kill someone with the tokens. 6 Kobolds turn into 30 damage on 1 attack, and get even more busted each time you recast Prossh. Another card that can fill the same role is Craterhoof of Behemoth. While shared Animosity is limited to same creature types, Craterhoof of Behemoth just needs creatures in order to be live. With enough Kobolds in play, Craterhoof can have easy access for triple digits of damage in 1 attack. With Prossh as your general, it won't be too difficult to reach critical mass with creatures. Attrition is a solid utility spell previously featured in the original Commander set. For 1 black mana, you can use your Kobold tokens to take out the best non-black creatures on the board. It's an improvement on Stronghold Assassin, as it's harder to kill as an enchantment and also can be activated multiple times in a turn. Just be prepared for it to be dead against hexproof and black creatures. Otherwise, it's a very solid utility spell and sacrifice outlet. Fleshbag Marauder is another card that acts as a one-shot sacrifice outlet and deals with the creatures that attrition can't. It's an efficient removal spell that can keep some of the more aggressive commanders in check and offers a lot of synergy with the remainder of the deck. Recursion is key in a deck that emphasizes the graveyard, and Power Hungry is no different. Eternal Witness is the preeminent recursion spell, as it can get any card as well as having synergy as a creature compared to a card like Regrowth, which will just sit in the graveyard after 1 use. Given the choice between a spell and a creature with the same effect, a deck like Power Hungry will want the creature first, as it offers more synergy with the rest of the deck. Regrowth cannot be sacrificed to Stronghold Assassin and doesn't trigger Deathbringer Thoktar. Genesis and Volrath Stronghold provide multiple uses out of your utility creatures once they hit the graveyard. Nim Deathmantle is a unique equipment that can put a creature you control right back onto the battlefield when it dies for 4 mana. It seems like a steep cost, but depending on the creature you're trying to bring back, the cost is often worth it. Being able to recur an Avenger of Zendikar or a Terastodon multiple times in a turn can be enough to take over the game by itself. With Ashnod's Altar and a creature that produces enough other creatures, you'll be able to go infinite and win on the spot. Most of the time, the ends will justify the means with Deathmantle, as it enables a lot of game-breaking plays despite the high cost. Drawing cards isn't one of Jund's strongest features, but with the help of Skull Clamp, the deck has an easy time filling up its hand. Previously banned from Standard for its power, Skull Clamp is more reasonable in Commander and requires a little building around to maximize its effectiveness. In a deck that's focused on sacrificing its creatures, Skull Clamp can be the best card in the deck. Turning each of your kobolds into 2 cards is amazing and will help you hit what you need to win. This concludes our spotlight on the new Commander 2013 decks. Let us know which decks you'll be picking up or which commanders you're looking to play. Next up, we'll start discussing some of the top Commander cards in each color. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.